Can hard work beat genetics? A viewer sent me a question via DM the other day. He asked, "Birth, where does your idea of effort come from?" Also, there are some incontrovertible research results that effort is determined by genes. In light of this, I would like to know again where effort begins. Effort means the power to strive, and it is called striving. Sometimes people say things that I don't even know what they mean, like, I don't consider effort to be effort, but when you exert effort and power in something, that's called effort. Basically, I often talk about ingenuity, about how to connect that effort to the result. That's why I know so much about it. Effort is determined by genes, but genes are full of holes. I often say, effort is determined by genes. Proton is determined by genes. Most things are determined by genes. But such nonsense can be debunked in a single word. So what? If you are not confident about your appearance, you can get plastic surgery. If you don't know how to work hard, learn how to work hard. There are many ways to develop what is genetically determined. Many people are mistaken. Genes are not something that indicate limitations, but rather the qualities that we originally possess. If necessary, you can develop them. It is possible to see the world beyond the level of one's background, depending on one's ingenuity. Even the face, which is considered to be the most ungrowable, is 80% influenced by genes, and there is only 20% room for ingenuity, but there are ways to develop it, such as makeup and plastic surgery. If you don't have common sense, no amount of knowledge will help. It is the same in this case. You are merely dancing around the impact of the words, 80% of things are determined by genetics. They're just making the mistake again of thinking, well, negative things are right. They just don't know what they can see when they see it. There are plenty of things that don't go by the letter. If genetics determines everything, I say, what the hell happened to a rich man born from a poor family? We just have to understand. That's just how it is. In other words, the genius and talent that you all are talking about are nothing more than theoretical theories. Common sense and common sense are the basic premise. Without such things, it is meaningless no matter how much expertise you put into it. Aren't you so caught up in your expertise that you can't see what is normal around you, that most things are determined by genetics? Aren't you just using the words genius and heredity symbolically as mere intellectual games? Aren't you just playing along again with the theoretical theories? Come to think of it, have you ever actually met a genius? I mean, have you ever actually met a genius? What are they talking about if they have never fought for it in the normal course of events? Theories without experience are merely intellectual games. There are very few real-life geniuses who appear on our everyday level. 70% of what they do is buried in society. Or they run a bar where they gather the same smart guys for an informal chat. If heredity determines everything, what are they doing? It is not determined. So this is what is happening. He was a genius, but he did not pursue his limits. This one is not a genius and also has no background, but did not pursue the limits either. These two are on the same shelf in the same cupboard from my point of view. However, if he is not a genius but pursues his limits, he is on a completely different shelf. As far as I am concerned, you have the predisposition and continue to pursue the limits. This is the only pattern that can be called genius. In many cases, most people who were called geniuses or prodigies in their school days have dropped out along the way. That's when we learn that the genius we see was only a fleeting phenomenon. Real geniuses don't stop after 5 or 10 years. They continue to produce results for 20 to 40 years. Compared to them, we are just a chick, a small thing. And yet you look at the same little guy next to you and mistake him for a genius, and play the fantasy card that heredity determines everything, and what on earth do you want? You want the title of victim? If you work hard, you can sometimes surpass geniuses. That's an understatement. But there are plenty of geniuses who don't work hard, so you can really gobble them up. Even geniuses are indistinguishable from ordinary people if they don't work hard. In other words, In this real world, effort is more important than heredity or genius.